Welcome to the Jersey Shorts podcast. This is season two, the first episode of season two. Miguel, how are you feeling, my friend?
I'm
Do you think that we'd go this far?
I didn't really expect it. I mean, we were having fun. It was just it didn't feel like much of a chore or anything like that. I enjoyed doing it. So for us to be here, I wouldn't say it's expected, but it's certainly something that I love that it's happening. So I'm just excited for it.
Yep, you and I were both excited, and so excited that we brought in two new people that will help us make this podcast much more entertaining. So, without much ado, here is Epic and Juan. You guys introduce yourselves. Epic, take the floor since you have experience working with us in this pod. So, go ahead,
All
man.
right. So, what is going on, you guys? Again, I am Itialas Didilio, as you all saw my name as a guest before in season one. But as for season two, now officially part of the Jersey Shorts family, you guys can call me Epic. And I'm really excited to be here. You may know me as a big LeBron James fan. I would say I'm a current Lakers fan, but eventually, once LeBron moves to either Atlanta, since Bronny James might be going to Atlanta next year, I might be an Atlanta fan. So just a quick heads up. And yeah, thank you to Rain and Miguel for allowing me to be here alongside Juan. Juan and Rain, fun fact, are two of my colleagues from Sportskita. So now we're going beyond being colleagues, and this is now a brotherhood. Now that we're all on the Jersey Shorts.
Yeah,
That's right. Okay, Juan, take it away, man.
So hey guys, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me as part of the new crew of the Jersey Shorts podcast. So my name is Juan. Full name is Juan Paulo David. I write for Sportskita basketball, and my favorite team is the Golden State Warriors. And I didn't, start following the Warriors when they became champions in 2015. I became a big fan when they were still the We Believe Warriors in 2008. But I started, way back when it was Gilbert Arenas and those guys, the classic Warriors with the white W's jerseys with the thunder and the stupid mascot. So as for my favorite player is Carmelo Anthony, because Melo is a walking bucket, and when you watch basketball, you want to see buckets. So you go for Melo.
That's true.
Go.
That's true. And
Yeah.
welcome to the family. Welcome to the group. Give yourselves a big hand, guys, because we're gonna make this work. We're gonna make this work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Of course, man.
welcome.
Yep. So without much ado, we'll get straight to the topics. And just like the Jersey Shorts podcast, the league is growing because they recently had their draft. We weren't there because we took a break prior to the draft, so we weren't able to cover that. So I'll start with you, Miguel, on this one. Which of the top five or top 10 picks surprised you?
Oh wow. I wouldn't say that any pick really surprised me in that way, where anyone fell in a spot where I didn't expect it, right? Because even with 2 and 3 happening, when the Hornets ended up with the second pick, I knew that Scoot was unlikely to be picked second because they already had a point guard. And I felt like I would have been more surprised if they actually went with Scoot Henderson at number 2. So, yeah, I don't think any of the picks up until number 10 really surprised me in any way. But I would say that the one I'm most excited for is actually the Rockets pick, Amen Thompson,
Oh,
because yeah, he's good. And
yes.
I don't know if you recall, very early on in the first season of Jersey Shores, we had talked about the San Antonio Spurs, and I said that if they somehow end up missing out on Victor Wembanyama, I said that I would like them to get Amen Thompson. So I'm very excited for what he can do for the Rockets because I've been watching his game. So yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. What about you, Juan? Who do you think? Who surprised you the most? Top 10, top
Pro-
5 picks.
Probably surprising. Probably Osar Thompson for the Detroit Pistons because he was projected the top 10 pick. You know, he was Cam Whitmore should have been, well, the projected fifth pick for the Pistons. So that's a little surprising, but it made history. So plus, I think Osar fits more because he's probably taller than Cam, and the Pistons need a wing guy since they have Ivy Cunningham. Uh, as Miguel pointed out, Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson, flip flopping 2 and 3 over the ahead of the draft. So it wasn't surprising to Brandon Miller got the number 2 because Scoot Henderson and Lamelo Ball are basically playing the same positions. Probably
That's
I'm
true.
going
That's
with
true.
Osar. Yeah.
So you got you both of you got the Thompson twins. What about you, Epic?
To be honest, like, not trying to like take a page out of Miguel's book, but I also wasn't surprised really with how the draft ended up playing out. Was because, like, as Miguel mentioned a while ago, like, as much as I wanted Scoot Henderson to be the second pick, it didn't make sense for Scoot to go number 2.
Yeah.
And but, like, I am a fan of the fact that the Blazers have a great pick in Scoot, because now, especially now that Damian Lillard has recently requested a trade, this was the perfect opportunity for the Blazers to, like, not necessarily find a replacement, but slowly but surely build the foundations of what they're about to lose in the offseason. You know what I mean? So as for the Spurs, since Victor Wembanyama, that was already expected, number 1 pick, and I'm excited to see how Greg Popovich, who recently re-signed with the Spurs,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how he could help Victor Wembanyama improve as a player, and how the Spurs veterans could also teach him how to become a more efficient player down the road.
That's a good take. Actually, I'm going to give you that. So we're getting 5 years of Popovich and Wemby on the same floor or the same team. I mean, Pop's not going to play. He can't. I mean, you've seen Pop. He's old.
Yeah,
But
bro.
anyways, yeah, he's very old. He can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He can't. So in this year's draft, out of the lottery, you can choose as far as like the second round. Who do you think is the biggest steal in this year's draft? Uh, Juan, you go first.
biggest steal. Wait, I'll think about it for a second.
Yeah, you can.
Oh,
You can.
I got one. I got one. I got one.
All right, go.
I actually made a an article about him for Sportskeeda. James Nagy, he played for Barcelona. I think he was drafted by the Pistons, and he was traded to the Hornets. So he's raw, but he's for an 18-year-old. He's already a full grown man. He's probably about 7 feet, two almost 250 pounds. And with the way the NBA is going, you have to have players that are big now because you have to stop the Embiids, the Jokic, the Giannis. And one of the ways, to do it is to draft, because those guys are rare. So you have to draft guys that are big and strong that can at least, slow them down when the inevitable comes. So yeah, I think Najee is gonna be great in about probably 5 years, maybe. Not great, but he's gonna be one of the best shot blockers in the league. Probably one of the best post defenders. Not a great offensive guy, probably, but I think he's gonna. I watch highlights of him, for work, and I really like his game. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's young too. He's 18, and he's got experience from FC Barcelona. So I think
Yeah.
that will come into play in his NBA career. I hope he stays in the league. I honestly do. What about you, Epic? Who is the steal of the draft this year?
Well, I'm not sure if you could consider this a steal just because he was a lottery pick, but personally speaking, like I'm excited to see I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. I think it's Bilal Coulibaly. Coulibaly?
Oh, yeah, Bilal
Victor Wembanyama's
Bilali.
teammate from Metropolitans
Yeah.
92.
Yeah,
So I'm actually excited to see how things are going to turn out for him in Washington because like a lot of casual fans have been saying, "Oh, why is he a lottery pick? His stats are bad. If you're going to put it right next to Victor Wembanyama, he's shit, right?" But that was only because Wemby was already with Metropolitans 92 prior.
that's true. That's
He
true.
was the dude carrying that team. So like with that attached to his name, I want to see if now that he has the opportunity to step out of Wembanyama's shadow, can he finally, prove to the world that hey, I really am the seventh pick. So I'm excited to see Koulibaly perform for the Wizards this season.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is that he had the courage to choose number zero in the Wizards. I mean, the number zero is
Zero.
it's been like tainted over the past years because of the Gilbert Arenas incident. The gun incident.
Yeah.
But I saw a video. I wrote about a news piece about it, and Arenas he's happy and he's glad that Koulibaly has chosen to wear the number zero and put some positivity into the
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
What about you,
yeah.
Miguel? Who do you got?
There's actually two guys that I'm thinking of who I would say are a bit of a steal. They're both in the first round, but the first one would be number 22, Derek Whitehead. I mean, 22nd pick. He's one of the more decorated people, and I really thought that he'd be at least a lottery pick, but he fell into the mid to late first round at 22nd pick. He was the Nets picked him up, but he's one of the most highly decorated players outside of the NBA. With the young guys who are coming into the NBA family, he's one of the more decorated people who'll be coming in, and yeah, he's got talent. He's got a lot of upside. I mean, he did have an injury, a foot injury that has caused him to miss some time, but he's got so much upside that I think it was worth taking the risk. And the second one that I think of is the 17th pick, Jalen
This one.
Hudge-Fino, who went to the Los Angeles Lakers.
Hey, Lakers.
Yeah, the Lakers aren't really known for developing like homegrown talent, right? But with this guy, he's got so much upside. He's being compared to so many already like great NBA players, great combo guards. Actually, are the guys that he's being compared to, like Dinwiddie, McCollum, and Bradley Beal. But I think he's a solid playmaker as well. So he's a great combo guard, and he's got talent to be a two-way guy. So for
Yeah,
him
yeah.
to fall all the way to the 17th pick to go to the Los Angeles Lakers like that, that's I think that's a steal.
I'm surprised.
In that way, yeah,
For me, I'm just surprised the Lakers still have a pick after all those trades.
yeah.
They did, to acquire stars and stuff. Also, if those are your choices, I'm surprised none of you chose Imani Bates, who's like projected to be a top pick, right? But he fell off, obviously,
He fell off
because he's
hard,
my
man.
pick. Yeah,
Uh,
he fell off. So I mean, um, he showed up in today's summer league games. He's been playing well. Also, actually, I have three choices. It's Imani Bates, Chris Murray, the brother of Keegan Murray. I think he's bound to be as not as good as his brother, but like half as good as his brother. So if he's half as good as like Keegan Murray, that's a great start actually. And also my last pick would be Jordan Walsh of the Celtics. Have you seen this guy? He's 6'7". He's got crazy wingspan and he has no hair, but he can like take you away.
Oh yeah.
He takes your breath
Oh
away.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
saying I'm not insulting his lack of hair. I know he's doing at least dealing with
No,
something. But but
Oh
hey,
man.
I'm praising him. He's great. I told you guys he's a steal in this year's draft. So enough of the draft. Let's move on to the big news, the free agency. We missed day one of free agency, my friends. So let's start with this free agency news because this one took me away. I just wanna. Oh, I still hate this deal that happened. The Beal trade, the Bradley Beal trade that sent him to the Suns. I just hate it because now you have three scorers. You've got a point guard who shoots awkwardly. I'm talking about Campaign. I hate his guts. And you still have DeAndre Ayton on payroll who also hate his guts. It's such a bad team, but I do appreciate their pickups. You know, Yuta Watanabe. Who else? I'm not really following the Suns because after that I was like, who's that? Who's that?
They got Gordon too. Eric Gordon. He signed Eric Gordon.
Oh yeah, Eric Gordon.
Yeah.
Good pick. Good pickup. Good pickup. So, what do you guys think of the Bradley Beal trade? Do you think that this makes the Suns a contender, or it's like it's gonna flop? What do you, Epic, take it away.
It's gonna flop. It's gonna flop.
Oh,
I mean,
I knew it.
like,
You're gonna say it.
yeah. I mean, like, it's already a given.
Absolutely. That's fair.
You got three scoring mentality players on your team.
Yeah.
That's not gonna work. There, one way or another, one has to be the star. The stage can only be so big. You know what I mean? Now, unless they get someone like Rajon Rondo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
If they get a pure
Yeah.
facilitator, a pure floor general, does nothing but set up for these three people, maybe. But with the current lineup that they have, no, I don't see it happening.
Nah.
Makes sense. Okay, what about you, Juan? What do you think? Flop or title?
Flop, man. Yeah, flop. As
I
Epic
hate
pointed out.
asking this question.
As Epic pointed out.
Yeah, but why?
They're all scorers, man. And even the guys they signed, there's no real defenders there. Who's gonna stop the opposing teams, man? So, I mean, Matt HBS, money. Yeah,
he's got the money. He's got the
money for it.
Plus, he's listening. He's listening to Isaiah Thomas, who's not really a great executive.
History of just not being good at that job.
Yeah, I think I would have loved their overall off season if they bring in like two-way players. But they did, Watanabe is not a real defender. He just shoots threes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Eric Gordon's not really a good defender, and he's one slight push away from injury. So Damian Lee is not a defender. God damn, man, it's not gonna work. It's gonna go.
That's a low ball.
Can I just say
Yeah.
The thing about the Suns' current lineup, it kind of reminds me of Golden State Warriors in a sense that minus the 3-point shots. So the thing, like the problem that I see with the Warriors is, sure, you guys are offensively gifted. It's gonna be your strength in numbers. That's what they're known for, right? And that's what the Suns currently have. They have strength in numbers. But if you're going to put it against the team, I'm not being biased, it's just an example. If you're going to put it up against the teams like the Lakers, who have been defensively, on top of the second half of the season last year, they're going to struggle, man.
Lakers,
for sure. They will struggle, though. That's fair. The thing that I see with this Suns team is the problems that they had last season, even when they got Kevin Durant, was that aside from the defensive issues that you had already pointed out, Juan, was that they also lacked depth. And picking up Bradley Beal does not address depth, right? It doesn't add any real solid contributors who can come off the bench for you. And for Chris Paul, I think they could have traded him for more than just one guy. I think they could have probably traded him for maybe a couple of future picks as well. Right? They could have found key contributors off the bench instead of just finding one star. Eric Gordon, as great as he is as a 3-point shooter, that's really a redundant thing to have with guys like Watanabe is a 3-point shooter, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley. These are all already guys who are solid 3-point shooters. It's not what you need anymore because you already have your primary options at the scoring. So what you really need is like two-way guys, bench guys, energy guys who would come off the bench, and
Yeah.
even when your stars are on the floor, they would still be able to provide like quality minutes. And that does not address any of this. They need now what they need is actually, as Epic pointed out, they actually do need a facilitator who would just help that team gel a little better, and they don't have that. We'll see how it goes, but right now it does feel like a flop. And comparing them to a team like the Lakers, who actually had a lot of really great pickups in the off season, they are
surprisingly,
they are in a better position. The Lakers are in a better position than the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on the topic of Chris Paul being traded. So let's attack the Warriors this time. They traded for Chris Paul. They traded Jordan Poole for Chris Paul just so that they could secure Draymond Green. I think that's my perception of it.
Fair,
what do you guys think?
Can I start with this one?
Go ahead.
Take it away, Mr. Warriors guy.
Since
Yes, sir.
following this team, and as much as I hate Chris Paul's guts, I think it's gonna work for the Warriors. I really do. Like, if you think about it, basketball perspective, if they bring Chris Paul off the bench, as Draymond Green pointed out, in Paul George's podcast, he's gonna unlock the young guys. Whenever the second unit is gonna unlock Kuminga, Moody, he's gonna turn them into real players. Because Steph's not a really pass first guy. Draymond is not really the best passer, so he's gonna unlock those guys. So that's one. Two, they brought back Draymond Green. So Draymond, as much as everyone hates him, he's the heart and soul of that franchise. He's the heart and soul of that championship team. So it makes sense to bring him back and get rid of Jordan Poole, as much as bad PR as it was. Because, Jordan Poole got punched. He got traded to the Wizards, but he got paid, man.
Yeah, and he played bad.
Yeah, he got paid. Let's not talk about how bad he was in the playoffs, man. Damn.
Yeah,
but,
he was. He was terrible. It was ass.
But, as for the Chris Paul trade, as much as I don't like Chris Paul, he's with the Warriors now. I gotta love him. So I think it's gonna work as long as he's off the bench and maybe, as a closer. Because that gives a lot of looks and playmaking for the Warriors, since they have three who can really do the pick and roll now. And when Chris Paul does it, he can go mid-range. When it's Steph, he's going to get blitz. With Draymond, he's just going to hand it off. And, they have a lot of options now. And the only thing I think that's their problem will be big guys. So maybe that's another topic. But in terms of Chris Paul, it probably gets a from me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The way you're processing that, Chris Paul acquisition by the Warriors was like how I processed when, the Suns got Chris Paul. First was like, I couldn't believe it. Next was like, no way. And third thing, I'm loving this guy. So I think it's going to work out well, but we'll still see because he's 38 and he's got a lot of miles in his, career. Yeah, injuries as well.
Injuries.
So what about Epic? Yeah. What about Epic? What do you think of this trade?
I think, all right, since we're already done with the whole CP3 trade, let's talk about Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole, yeah, sure, he does suck ass, man. Like, he's only good when the baddies are around. All right. But to be honest, I feel like this is going to be a very humbling experience for Poole because, like, now he's being sent to Washington, D.C. Literally, hey, I'm not bashing on DC. That's the nation's capital. But I saw a lot of posts that it's not really the funnest
Yeah.
place to be in. So I think it's going to be a humbling experience for Poole, especially now that he's going to be in a team where there isn't necessarily a veteran. So meaning to
Who's
say he's gonna have, oh yeah, Kuz could be a veteran because yeah, right, but like,
Yeah.
at least now he has all this freedom to like
yeah,
explore and find himself, because for sure, like, the Wizards organization are, well, I'm not sure if he's going to be the guy, but
no,
he's going to be one of the,
yeah,
the best options for the Wizards on that team at the moment. So, with that attached to him, he might grow as a player, and we might actually see a new star born, because like, let's be real, even though he does suck ass, there is a lot of potential there, right? So
yeah, of
maybe, who
course.
knows? I want to give him
Yeah,
the benefit of the doubt,
absolutely. Yeah,
honestly.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Okay, Miguel, your turn.
Yeah, I agree with that Jordan Poole take is he does have a lot of upside. He's got a lot of potential. We might see something special from him, but so far, he's been disappointing because he just does not have good like shot selection. Doesn't have a lot of. I think his basketball IQ
Oh,
is very low. Is what it feels like to me. I think he's
uh,
trying. While he was with the Warriors, he was trying too hard to emulate what Steph Curry can do,
yeah,
and there's no one else who can do
exactly.
what Steph
Yeah,
Curry can do. What Jordan Poole just like throwing it up, but he didn't like to do the movements that Steph Curry did, coming off screens,
yeah,
running around, and all that. So there was a lot that Jordan Poole lacked, trying to be the main guy, and that just wasn't what they needed from him. They needed him to step up when they called his number,
yeah.
not to be the guy who chucking up shots from the logo and from 30 something feet. So we'll see. Jordan Poole can now take 30 shots per game, and there isn't
Oh
going to be a
man.
veteran to get pissed off at him. No veteran to
Yeah,
get
because no one's gonna
ejected.
watch
Yeah,
Wizards games.
no, I mean like on the team.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like
All
see
right.
you uh for example, Steph Curry got so frustrated at Jordan Poole, he actually got ejected from a game.
Oh
Draymond got
yeah.
so frustrated at him, he actually socked him in the face. So that's not gonna happen. I think right now he's basically going to have, if not maybe like the secondary option, maybe even the primary option
I see.
for the Wizard scorer as like their main guy. So he'll have freedom to do whatever he wants on offense. But yeah, he'll learn so much from this because he's going to learn that whatever it is he's doing, his style of play, it's not going to cut it. He's not going to win any games, not going to win any championships with it.
Yeah.
Now, with on the Warriors side of things with Chris Paul, here's the thing: even if he's like 50 years old or something, the IQ will always be there.
Yeah.
He's always going to be a very intelligent basketball player who can tell young guys what to do. This unlocks a new level for the Golden State Warriors because, like I mentioned earlier, Steph Curry moves so well off the ball. And yeah, Draymond Green can read that very well, but he's not. The reason why Draymond Green is a good playmaker is because Steph Curry is on his team. Klay Thompson is on his team. Now, on the other hand, Chris Paul is a naturally good playmaker. He's the kind of guy who really makes teams better. Just look at his history, his track
Yeah.
record. Everywhere he's been, he's made teams better. There is no single team that had like a terrible season record with Chris Paul being the main facilitator, the main point guard. So with the Warriors, Steph Curry just got another guy who would feed him the ball every time he comes off screens, every time he a flare, a floppy action, anything that Steph Curry does, he's now got a guy looking out for those movements, and it'll even be faster. It'll be even be more pinpoint than what Draymond's already doing for him or whoever else feeds Steph Curry the ball. So we might just see crazy numbers from Steph in terms of points just because Chris Paul will be feeding him the ball. Now, when it comes to team success, I wouldn't really be all that optimistic about it because they still lack elsewhere when it comes to like someone who's going to come off the bench for Looney, someone who's going to come off the bench
Bigs.
for
They don't have
Draymond when
bigs,
those guys
man.
are sitting.
They got
They don't
Darius
have
Saric. I
bigs.
mean, that's the
Yeah,
best they could
that's
pull
the best
off.
they got. So maybe we'll see
Um,
them make moves. I think we'll see. Will they have a new guy with Mike Dunleavy, who'll be making decisions. So it'll be interesting to see how that roster will be shaped in the middle of the season. They might be picking up guys from the G League. They might be picking up a bunch of free agents who are still available. Maybe they'll have more drafts in the future. I mean, trades rather. They'll have more trades in the future. So we'll see how it goes, how they're going to shape the rest of the roster should Chris Paul stay with the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, also I'd like to add that the Warriors will get away with a lot more of that illegal screens that they've been, exercising.
Yeah.
In the dynasty. Yeah, I said it. I said it.
It's true.
Hashtag
It's
no
true.
regrets,
It's
man.
true. It's true.
They're notorious for having a lot of illegal screens. Setting a lot
they
of
are.
It's Draymond, So
it.
what else?
It's Draymond.
What else, man?
That's like it's so.
Can I touch on the?
Yeah.
No. Can I touch on the Sarge pickup? It's all right. It's
Go
all
ahead.
right, but Sarge is not a real big. Is more like a Bielitsa type player.
Yeah,
Which is,
yeah, he is that kind of big.
That's gonna help the bench, but they still need the big because Looney 6'9".
Yeah,
they just
He's
need
just
a big
tall.
man.
He's not big.
Yeah.
That's it.
They just need another big. I think another big would
Yeah,
probably take them a top 4. No, in the West, but
Yeah.
yeah.
who's the big man remaining for them to get? So that's another problem. So.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand about the Warriors. Like, why do they always fixate themselves on getting players who always play outside rather than inside? I get it. Like, that's the whole Warriors dynasty these days. But, to be honest, the era that Curry and Thompson has, brought into the league back in 2015. I mean, no offense, Juan, but like, it's dead now. We're transitioning back.
Clay is oh man, Clay.
Right. The craze is, dude, it's done. The fad is over, and we're transitioning back to smash mouth basketball, fighting inside, fighting for the ball, grabbing the boards. So I just don't understand why the Dubs don't go that direction these days, right?
I think it's all about care. It's all about Kerr's, philosophy and stuff. So, it's probably their last hurrah this season, those Dubs, because Chris was probably going to retire afterwards, or, he's going to be a free agent. So, it's probably their last hurrah as a real championship contender. Warriors fans should just drink that last season. Because I don't know if they should resign Clay, but, not 100 million, because he's no longer the same, man. I love Clay, but he doesn't have it anymore in terms of being a top tier star. So we're just gonna drink in this last season, hope for a championship. At least
just hope for the best.
Conference
Actually,
finals.
At least he can still proudly show his 4 rings or 4 fingers. Whenever he gets boxed in the corner, he gets to raise up 4 fingers,
of course,
and be cocky about it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, staying on the subject of the Golden State Warriors, they re-signed Draymond Green to a new contract. I don't have the exact numbers. Actually,
it's 100. I think
because I did the news. Yeah, it's
4 years. I think.
They're $100, right? $100? No, not $100. That's so cheap.
Damn, bro.
That's so cheap. Like,
damn, bro.
I'm richer than him. Anyways, it's $100 million.
It's $100 million
for 4 years, right? 4 years.
I think it's a player option for the final year too. So.
Yeah. So, do you think with this contract, this could give them another chance or another ring? Miguel, what do you think?
It right now, the way the roster is assembled, I wouldn't say that they are a championship team compared to all. I mean, even like we had already discussed earlier, even the Lakers are in a better position than the Golden State Warriors right now in terms of who they've got on that roster. Who they were able to pick up, who they were able to add. before we can consider them as a real championship team this year, they'll need to add a few more guys. But here's the thing: the Warriors, we doubted them during that season where they beat the Boston Celtics for the title. So they do well at proving the doubters wrong, at least. But last year they were really taken to the limit. For them to be taken to 7 games by the Sacramento Kings just shows how much they've really fallen
Yeah.
from grace. Because any other year prior to, except those years, of course, where Steph was hurt or Clay was hurt, any other time before that, the Kings wouldn't even sniff out a single win. But the situation last time was that they were taken to 7 games. So there's a lot to do with reworking that roster, and it's true. The NBA right now is shifting back to they're moving away from like a small ball lineup where it's 4 out 1 in on offense. Now we're seeing big guys again going back in the paint. You have 3-2 and even like your swingman or your 3, your small forward. They focus a lot more on cutting and setting screens and getting inside as well, banging bodies. So that formula with the Golden State Warriors, it worked and it was fun to watch while it was working. Steph did some amazing things. Clay, those just great things, achieved great things during that time, but they're gonna need to learn to get with the program. The NBA has started to evolve and they're getting left behind. So it's just not going to work for them as a championship team, or they're not considered a championship team in my book.
How about you, Epic? What do you think?
Well, 100 mil for Draymond Green. Yeah, I do agree with Juan when he said that despite all the backlash he receives, he is the heart and soul of the Warriors. He always finds a way to rally the Warriors to victory with his never dying support, right? But
Support.
I don't know. 100 mil is a bit too much for someone like Draymond at his age, at least with the numbers that he produces. Yeah, sure, he can still be a defensive asset, but he's no longer the all-star he once was. So if anything, yeah, I feel like what they should have done was how they treated Russell Westbrook at the LA Clippers. He took a big pay cut in order
That's a
to
lot.
maximize their money to get, more solid pieces, which the Warriors failed to do. So having that said, I don't think this is a championship roster either, especially like now they no longer have much assets to like bring in more solid players just because of the 100 mil deal.
That's true. That's true. I do agree with you. Like 100 mil for someone who averages a triple single is way too much. And he's had injuries as well. So
Yeah.
I do. I get your point on that. Warriors expert Juan, what do you think?
I think it's all right. I'm not mad at it because it's Draymond. He's
Yeah.
represented
Plus, it's
by
not your money, so
no, but he's represented by Rich Paul. No one's gonna
Yeah.
negotiate under 100 mil if it's Rich Paul. So
yeah.
and I think Draymond deserves that. He as much as everyone hates him, he's still got that basketball IQ to make things work for the Warriors, at least for probably a year or two. I think that's gonna be his. This is gonna be he's not flatline. He's on the downward trajectory now, but his smarts in the defensive end is still gonna be helpful. But when he's 34, 35, he's not gonna bang with Jokic down the. He's not gonna bang with AD there. So
Yeah.
I think the first 2 years are gonna be worth it for the Warriors, but the last two is he has the player option. But I'm not mad with the deal. He deserves it. I'm not mad at it. Really, I'm not mad at it.
All right. It's clear with it. He's not mad, guys. Don't push him. Anyways, so let's transition to a different player. This guy, has stayed loyal to his franchise since he was drafted. And recently, he just, he woke up and chose violence and it's like, trade me, please, to the Heat. I'm talking about Damian Lillard. Do you think a trade will happen this summer, or the season will start and he'll still wear Blazers colors? Let's start with you, Epic.
Um, it could happen, especially at first he just requested for a trade, and now the headline reads demanding a trade. Because
Yeah.
obviously he's not happy, especially with that Jeremy Grant signing.
Mm.
Ew, that was a waste, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
not hating on Jeremy
Yeah,
Grant,
yeah.
he's a
Yeah.
good player too,
He
but
fleeced the
dude,
Blazers.
he doesn't deserve that
Yeah,
deal, in my
yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
Right?
It wasn't worth that much.
Towards Rich Paul.
Rich Paul. That's
Rich Paul.
correct.
Yeah.
Screw you, Rich Paul. But
Yeah.
the Blazers promised Dame that they were finally gonna build a championship contending team, and they did it right with Scoot Henderson. Yeah, sure, maybe they do play the same role since they're both point guards, but it could have been, a rebirth of the old Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum combo. It could have been that. Whereas, Damian Lillard would be this, grizzly old veteran teaching this new explosive point guard, showing him the ropes. And then, seeing as how Lillard is still explosive in his own right. I mean, the dude is still averaging over 30 points a game at the age of, I think he's 32, if I'm correct.
That's 32.
So, like, at 32 years old, he's averaging 32 points a game. So they did it right. But like I said, now that they've wasted all that money, once again, Jeremy Grant, and now they no longer have the assets to build the, promised championship squad, I think the trade is happening.
That's good. That's a good take. So you're thinking the Heat, right?
Honestly, any team works at this point.
Yeah, but it has a no trade clause, I think.
No.
Yeah, he does.
Does he?
Doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
He does.
Sadly.
No.
Okay, so he could get traded anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just sad because the reports were saying, like his agent was like, warning the other teams like don't trade for Lillard
He's
because
not showing up.
it's going to be like acquiring unsatisfied player. So Juan,
Ben
what
Simmons.
do you make of this?
One is gonna get traded, so it's gonna be the Heat. They're just waiting for a third. They're just waiting for the third team that's gonna get Tyler Hero.
In-depth analysis.
Yeah, they're just waiting for that because Miami didn't bring back Dave Vincent. They didn't bring back what's the name, Max Strus.
Strus, yeah.
Max Strus, yeah.
They know what they're doing. Pat Ryan and the Heat, they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably just waiting for a third team to get Hero's deal because players just don't want Hero. I don't know why, but they do have Sharp. For the as for Hero, maybe I think the Portland Trailblazers are just looking for more picks at this point, just to make it look like a real rebuild. Because Shadon Sharp and Scott Henderson. As for if the Blazers just do a quick turnaround and rebuild around Lillard again, I don't know if they can build a championship contender, but I think they can still probably get something for Simons. They're probably gonna get a lot for Scoot, but
Yeah.
if you get Scoot, who's being touted as a first pick, if it wasn't this year's draft, just go full rebuild. I mean, that's the logical thing if you're looking at it at our perspective, because you have a ready-made point guard, then you have a ready-made shooting guard in Shadon Sharp. So if you trade Dame, you're gonna get probably two really good players. Jeremy Grant's gonna be your number one option now, right? Or at least number one scorer. So that's gonna be a tankathon for about 1, 2, 3 years, and that's full scale rebuild. Scoot's gonna be a veteran then. So I mean, damn Blazers, you should have traded Dame years ago.
Yeah, they should have.
Yeah,
man, for sure. The
So it's a
Blazers have
dilemma, right?
really screwed him up. Yeah, I think the Blazers have really screwed with Damian Lillard. They screwed him over so much. Like
That's true.
it's terrible. You know, they didn't put up. They didn't. It almost seems like they weren't interested in actually building a contender around him. You know, they had McCollum
Yeah,
with him,
McCollum.
and that wasn't working out. But I think with the McCollum thing, it could have worked out if they didn't keep trying to make it work with Yusuf Nurkic as the third guy. That
Yeah,
was the problem. They kept trying to stick with that trio, and it wasn't working. And the Blazers, they just didn't want to admit that whatever it was they were trying to do wasn't working. And kudos to Lillard. I mean, I appreciate the loyalty, man. That's rare.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
is
we
rare.
always
very,
talk
very good.
about guys. We flame guys for jumping to different teams when things aren't
Kevin
working
Durant.
out. Yeah, Kevin Durant. I was looking at you. I'm not even gonna hide it. But you know, when it comes to guys like that, we always give them crap. But for Damian Lillard, he's being given crap for staying loyal. For me, I would just actually praise him for that because he
Yeah,
is displaying a quality that we've never seen. I mean, even Kobe Bryant has requested a trade at some point during his
Yeah,
yeah,
prime, right? Prior to. So, for Damian Lillard to wait this long to request for a trade, this is crazy. I admire it so much. With regards to, I would, yeah, I'd love to see him go to Miami Heat, but you guys right pointed out that they need a third team to make this work, and maybe it won't happen yet because it's a little early, and
yeah,
right now I think most of the teams they've already assembled what they think will be their roster on opening day. They're just
yeah,
waiting for how the summer league is going to work out. They're going to just see who else they're going to add from veterans, but we're going to have to wait until maybe December or January before Damian Lillard trade talks start to heat up again. But I may be wrong. But I think at that point, because December, January, teams already have an idea which players they like to move, where they'd like to, what they like to add. So uh, by then, teams would be more willing to engage in a three-way trade with the Blazers and the Heat.
All right. So, moving on to the next topic, we got two more to talk about. So, the next one we'll touch very quickly. I'll ask you to grade how the Lakers have done so far in this offseason. Okay. I'll start. I'll give them an A minus. They've done great. They've re-signed their good players. They've re-signed Reeves, Hachimura, D'Lo, and also they've added a few other guys. Although they did lose Lonnie Walker and a few other guys, I think they're on the right track. What about you, Juan? How would you grade the Lakers so far?
F. Just kidding.
F.
Just kidding.
Damn,
Just
bro.
kidding. Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
So we're
kidding.
getting violent reactions. We're just, dude, watch
I'm
it.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not the biggest Lakers fan, but they've been one of the best teams and one of the best front offices since the trade deadline. And Rob Pelinka did good. They did really good. I'm gonna give them a B.
It's a
Not
decent,
too
decent grade.
not it's all right. It's a good grade.
Yeah,
I just think it doesn't put them over the top, or
yeah,
because their ceiling is probably Western Conference Finals based on what happened last season. So uh, they didn't really improve a lot. They just
Yeah,
replaced Schroeder with Vincent. D'Lo is still, yeah. Ruhad Shimura is gonna be big for them. I think that's gonna be key. And they got Austin Reeves back, which is huge because one of the reasons I think the Lakers didn't repeat back then, as much as I hate it, that they had a chance to back to back at that point. They didn't bring back Caruso, so they held on to Reeves, which is a good move. He's probably the third best player in the playoffs, so that's a good
yeah,
move. But they didn't really make a huge leap from Western Conference finalists to championship, finalist, but it's all right. It's a B. And
What about you, Miguel?
that's right there.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. You can finish your thought. Go ahead.
And LeBron's gonna turn 39 next season. AD's not gonna be, not gonna play
Healthy.
82 games. So so it's a B. It's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, with the Lakers, I would say probably, I think an A actually for me, because since last season's trade deadline, as Juan pointed out, they have been one of the best front offices in the league. They were able to get rid of all the problems in their locker room and add guys who were able to contribute. They turned that season around like no other team can. And of course, that's thanks to the fact that LeBron James is LeBron James. Love him or hate him, you got to respect what LeBron James can do. I'm not the biggest LeBron James fan, but I have so much respect for what he can do on the court. What he can do for a team, it's unprecedented. It's very rare that you get a superstar like that who could just, turn your team into an automatic contender. Even, there's not a lot of teams, a lot of players who can do that, even superstars. Right? It's very rare for even a superstar to be able to do that. And they still have LeBron James. And it would be foolish for us to count out LeBron James at this point, even though he's like, the age that he is. I mean, he's a great facilitator, and people don't give him enough credit for that. He makes the guys around him so much better. And for some reason, it's very rare that people acknowledge that, Only people who actually pay attention to what basketball is like can see that LeBron James makes the players around him better, like on the court. He's got the IQ of LeBron. So him still being on that team, but there are some things that would hold them back. I love that they're staying with D'Lo and that they're giving him another chance to be that point guard for that team, because I remember when Epic guested for us in season 1, he said that D'Lo was like one of these guys whose superpowers had a really long cooldown, and you likened him to characters from MOBAs or games like that. So but maybe they'll figure out to get him to be a more consistent player. When it comes to AD, you really just have to feel bad for the guy. Just health has been an issue because
unfortunately.
Unfortunately for sure. I think if you were able to stay on the court, we'd be talking about him as one of like top 10 big men of all time. Absolutely. Like he'd be one of the guys that we'd be talking about who'll go down as a generational talent, but he can't stay healthy is the problem. The Lakers, they added great guys. Right now, I think it's all about just building on what they had, because this might be a bit controversial. I don't think that they had a terrible roster during the matchup against the Denver Nuggets. I think they were simply outplayed by a better team. Like they battled. It wasn't because like, it's because this guy sucks. It's because this guy is this and that. It's simply because they were outplayed by a better team. And, there's no blame to go around. And it's true. I mean, D'Lo was inconsistent and it was frustrating to watch him. But at the end of the day, they were simply outplayed by the Nuggets. And if they figure out a way to just get over that and once again become the best team in the West, and I believe that they can, we might be seeing another championship run for the Lakers.
All right. What about our LeBron James representative? Epic, what's up?
Honestly,
Lakers.
let's get to LeBron later. I just want to go back to D'Lo. My opinion still stands. I do not like D'Lo yet. Maybe he might prove me wrong this season. Who knows? So because of the whole D'Lo signing, I'm gonna grade the Lakers' offseason a B plus. It's a solid B plus because, like, all right, just because of D'Lo, that's why it's a B plus. Other than that, other than that, like, they really have great picks, and the players that they re-signed are great too. Rui Hachimura, one of the playoff heroes for the Lakers. Austin Reeves, also, like, what you guys mentioned, probably the third best player on the team right now. So, like, it's I'm really excited for the Lakers next season because, like, they got to secure the guys that helped them on in the second half of last year's season. That they came from 2-10, and suddenly they were, Western Conference Finals contenders, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what they can do. LeBron James, yeah, sure. Juan's like,
Yeah.
he's 39. He's old. He's old.
Oh,
Hey man. The thing about LeBron, if you're gonna look at his stats, if we're gonna talk figures, bro, comparing last season to his 2005 season, they're virtually the same, and he's 38, turning 39. So, like, you can't deny that. You can't deny greatness, man. Hey, but it's okay. We're all good, bro. We're all good, bro.
No,
I'm
no.
just facts.
no, I don't hate LeBron. Critical of him probably, but he's one of the greatest. He's probably the greatest for some. So I just we grew up with LeBron. We grew up watching LeBron, and for the first time, I think last season, for the first time ever, I saw LeBron having trouble beating guys off the dribble. He,
Yeah.
he will have those bursts where he's gonna be Superman. But if for the Lakers to win another championship, he needs to have probably those bursts more often, or probably just do it in the playoffs. Maybe lie low in the
Regular
in the
season.
regular season,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
reserve that energy because he's still gonna invest $1 million on his body. He's still gonna be
Yeah.
uh, one hell of a player. And
Yeah.
but he's gonna be 39. Father time will always be undefeated. He's gonna slow down eventually, but he's got he's got the genes. He's got the money. He's got the body to probably until 42, 43 when Bryce James
Yeah.
arrives.
Yeah.
So I'm not diminishing LeBron. I just think that if they want a chance, gotta rest him more in the regular season and just unleash, the old LeBron, quote unquote old LeBron, superpower LeBron in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in the playoffs, AD was their best player, and LeBron looked a little fatigued in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, and you need him at his best in the playoffs. So that's my take on the whole LeBron.
Yeah.
old-
Don't worry
old
about it, bro.
stuff.
Like I said, I'm not mad, but I will acknowledge that fact. Like, yeah, I was actually about to get there. Like, the main problem that the Lakers have right now, at least with LeBron James, the whole LeBron situation is, I think if both Miguel and Rain remembered, I mentioned in the episode where I guested, LeBron just keeps taking those unnecessary threes, man. But, like, I get it though. I get
Yeah.
why he's doing that. Like what Juan said, he's probably reserving his energy for those, little Superman bursts here and there.
Yeah.
I get that. But, like, now that, LeBron is now old man Braun, right? Now that he's approaching his 40s, I feel like now's the perfect time, especially now. Like I said, Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, these guys have proven themselves to be, like, one of the best players on the roster right now, especially in the playoffs. So I feel like they should focus on that. Like, as, with AD leading the charge, and then, like, AR and Rui being like the second options, and then LeBron could just become this Magic Johnson type
So,
of player
Yeah.
where, like, he just starts facilitating. Yeah, sure, he can still take his shots. I'm not asking him to stop taking his shots because LeBron is still LeBron. End of the day, he's King James for a reason. But in order for it to become, like, efficient instead of like always forcing those 3-point shots or like, having those Superman bursts and then ending up being fatigued for game 2, game 3. You know what I mean? I think now is the perfect time to like transition into
Yeah.
this more um floor general type of role. Like instead of always relying on LeBron to handle the offense, they should now rely on the younger guys, right? And as for AD, like to be honest, Anthony Davis, yeah, sure, he will never be healthy. That's a fact. He will never be healthy. But props to him for this season. Although he was absent for a while, he lasted longer than I expected. You know what I mean? I was like, yo, you're still here. What the fuck? So like if he could at least replicate that longevity, then I think the Lakers could make a callback to the Western Conference Finals. I'm not saying that it's gonna happen. It's a probability though.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's it for me
That's
for the
great.
Lakers. Yeah.
That's great. We may extend a bit because this last subject. I'm saving the best for last.
Let's just keep it going, man. Let's just keep talking basketball.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about the time right now.
Yeah.
Let's just do this.
I'm
sir.
going there. I'm going there. Tell me your reactions to Wembanyama's first summer league game. Juan, you go first.
Oh, Wemby.
How did you feel? What did you feel during
I'll
that
stay
time?
quiet for a while you guys go.
You go last because
Yeah,
you're
I'll
the
let-
biggest Spurs fan I know.
He got a lot of hate, man. I feel for him. He got a lot of hate for having a 9-8-5. Really, 9-8-5. That's not a bad stat. And he's in his first game outside of France in terms of competition. He's probably nervous. He's probably tired, and he's all got that Britney Spears shit going on. So I don't, I'm not gonna judge.
You got it.
I'm not gonna judge, a 9-8-5, but the 2 of 13 shooting, not the prettiest one, and he looked lost.
Yeah.
I think it's probably because European style is a little bit compact. As Luca pointed out, I think in a podcast somewhere. That's why it's harder to score there. Maybe Wemby, got it's still new to him. That, there's a lot of space, so he's gonna dribble like Kyrie. So that's one observation. He looked lost, but the other one. He looks a little frail for me, man. He can back down Brandon freaking Miller, But in terms of he's stable, he looks stable. But if someone Giannis, he's gonna feel that, like. But as he gets used to the league, I think he's gonna be alright. I mean, the second game, he he looks much better. So the haters are quiet then. So yeah, I think if we're gonna grade if we're gonna grade his debut, probably a B minus for me. But the second one, it's really A. So yeah, it's alright. There's a lot of hype. That's why
Alright.
a lot of people are just
Alright. Yeah. He did get a lot of hate. So
yeah.
what about you, Epic? You told me before we started the recording that you had a lot to say about him. So take the
Yeah.
floor, take the mic. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, like, bruh, I'm not saying he's a bust. He's no bust, but he is no greatest number one pick of all time, like what everyone is saying. I completely disagree with
that's
that. That's
early.
bullshit, bro. That's bullshit. Like, bruh, okay, maybe, yeah, fine. He's adjusting to NBA standards. He's been playing in the French league, the European league, whatsoever. But, like, if you're the greatest number one pick of all time, man, then you got to live up to that hype. All right, maybe I'm going to be a bit biased here, but this is based on stats, on facts. LeBron James, NBA debut, not even summer league, NBA debut, 25 points immediately. 25 points. He was interviewed after the game. Are you tired? No, I'm not tired. Wembanyama looked gassed, bro. He looked gassed on his opening game. And that's just the summer league. All right, fine. Maybe he did redeem himself today. He had 27 points, 12 boards. It was a double double, 64.2% field goal. But like for you to like underperform in your debut, I mean that for me already sets the tone. Like I'm not hating on the guy. It just sounds like it, but I'm not. But like if
He's
you
defending
start off
LeBron.
that way, what?
He's defending LeBron.
I'm
You're
not defending
defending
him.
LeBron.
If it sounds like that, I'm sorry. But like, yeah, for you to like, start off that way, yeah, sure, he popped off today, but it's a clear indication that he's going to be inconsistent. I do want to tackle what Juan mentioned about he looked frail. Yeah, he's got a scrawny build, and I think I mentioned in the previous episode that I guested it in season one. He needs to bulk up. He needs to have this. It doesn't need to be like Giannis's figure, but at least close to that, because like dudes shorter than him are dunking on him, and he has a 10-foot standing reach. He has an 8-foot wingspan. No one should be able to dunk on him, right? Statistically speaking. But because of his, slender frame, now he's struggling to go up against these black dudes, or, at least the other dudes who are more, physically gifted. So I think what Wembanyama needs to do and what the Spurs need to focus on right now this offseason is to get Wemby into shape, number one. Number two, I think they need to polish his offense a bit more just so that he could stay more consistent. And I think number three, if they are really gonna make Wemby the go-to guy, I think they should also teach him how it works in the NBA versus the French and European leagues, because he might be used to certain plays that are not being done in the NBA. So there's a lot of transitioning happening for Wembanyama. I completely understand, but honestly, despite all the negative things I've said about him, I'm still excited to see how he's gonna grow in this league, especially that he's gonna be under Greg Pop. He's gonna be mentored by the vets like Timmy D, Manu, Tony Parker.
David
He's gonna learn a
Robinson.
lot from these people, right? And hopefully, I'm not expecting this season, but in the near coming years, hopefully he will become the star that everyone says he is.
That's true. That's true. Oh, I appreciate that. So, I guess that's it. We're not letting Miguel speak. No, just kidding. Okay, because you're the biggest Spurs fan, and saved it for you. So, go ahead, my man.
Well, when it comes to Wembanyama, I also just shook my head when they said the greatest number one prospect since forever. I did think about LeBron James, but I also thought about Tim Duncan. I was like, come on.
Of course, because you're a Spurs fan.
Yeah, I mean,
logically,
for
that
you
makes sense.
to immediately compare Wembanyama, Tim Duncan. Yeah, sure, he's done good things in the the league that he was playing in prior to coming to the NBA. But most of what we saw were highlights. I started to look into actual footage from his games where it wasn't just highlights, but I noticed that bigger guys were able to back him down, and we even saw that with as pointed out earlier, was Brandon Miller backing him down like he was nothing. For him to be considered the greatest number one pick is so much of a stretch for me, because I think that there is no number one pick that's been talked about as much who needs as much help as Wembanyama does. I mean, we can think about busts in recent memory, like Anthony Bennett and all that, but we already knew that draft class was weak. This is different, with Wembanyama. We are talking about him like he's going to be the greatest NBA player of all time, even before he's played a single NBA game. But if you're supposed to be the greatest number one pick of all time, why do you need this much help? Why do you need to go through so much work to become so great. He's going to have a great supporting cast around him. That is true. Just with Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan, you guys already named all these great veterans and Spurs legends, David Robinson and all that. So he's got all the tools he needs to succeed. He's got guys in his corner who will make sure that he succeeds, but ultimately it'll be up to him. But to compare him to LeBron James, whose own veterans felt skeptical that they were drafting him onto the team. Right? If you remember when LeBron James was getting drafted, the veterans on that team were like, no, we're not going to hand the keys of the offense to
Darius Miles.
Darius Miles and all that. And,
Darius Miles, Carlos Boozer.
Yeah, and
those guys.
And he proved them wrong. And he's like miles and miles ahead of those guys. But, he did that without the supporting cast that Wembanyama has. So for Wembanyama to fail, it would be it would be crazy. And it would be, I think, considered the greatest bust in NBA history if he fails. His game one performance, I wouldn't base what's going to happen to his career off of that. It's not even an official NBA game, and he made up for it during the second game. But you guys have pointed out a lot of things that I have also noticed is that wasn't even against legit NBA veterans or legit NBA stars. And he already looked lost. Let's talk about just like the first game. Whatever it was that he was doing out there, he absolutely does look lost. And then for him to claim in the press conference afterwards, I didn't know what I was doing out there. You're the number one pick. You can't say that.
Yeah.
You can't say that you don't know what you're doing out there. You're not even going up against real NBA vets. You're supposed to be the best player coming to the NBA, and you don't know what you're doing against other rookies or even like just sophomores and all that. So that pissed me off so much. And I tried to understand from a different perspective. I tried to think about, okay, I mean, we've all misspoke before. We've all said some things that were, we didn't necessarily mean, that were mistaken for something else. So maybe that's what happened. Maybe the adrenaline was getting to him. The pressure was getting to him. The bright lights of the NBA are still something he's adjusting to. And of course, that is something he needs to adjust to. And maybe him saying that he didn't know what he was doing out there is not necessarily what he means 100%. But for him to say that is just a major red flag for you to not know what you're doing out there. You have to learn, as a young guy, you have to learn to watch what you're saying to the media, because they will eat you up. And we might not really consider it, but moments like that can really affect the way a player develops if the media eats you up. So, there's so much he needs to work on. I'm still skeptical. I'm optimistic, and I think I've used this phrase before. The way I feel about Wembanyama is just cautious optimism. Yes, there's optimism. No, I don't think he'll be greater than Tim Duncan. He'll be able to do some things that Tim Duncan was not able to do, like become a consistent, threat from beyond the arc and stuff like that. But even just to think that he'd be greater than Tim Duncan, for me right now, it's too much of a stretch. He's got so much he needs to work on. He looks so uncoordinated, right?
Yeah.
His footwork's terrible. I mean, Tim Duncan was an all-star his rookie season. Immediately, we knew what Tim Duncan was all about his rookie season. So to just think that he's going to be better than Tim Duncan is crazy for me. I don't hate the pick. I don't necessarily hate the pick. I'm glad that the Spurs went with the best available guy. But there's so much he needs to work on. He needs to bulk up. He needs to become better defensively. And yeah, blocks are, a number that we're always going to see. Take, for example, Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert gets the numbers, but no one is afraid of attacking Rudy Gobert. And if Wembanyama keeps playing the way he's playing, he's going to be just another guy like Rudy Gobert, where he might be getting the numbers, but no one's going to be afraid to get in there.
Yeah.
He lacks, he might have the flash of European big man, but he does not have the grit. He does not have the finesse that a European big man has. Think about smaller guy, Gasol, even recent memory, Jokic, who is not even a first round pick. he's got so much to live up to, and we don't even, and it's not even, number one picks that we have to talk about. If he starts playing better than guys like Gasol, Pau Gasol, Marc Gasol, Domantas Sabonis, if he's even able to just touch the greatness of Nikola Jokic right now, sure, we could call it a success. But until he starts playing at that level, don't talk to me about him being the greatest number one overall pick. And I'm a Spurs fan, and I love this pick, and I want to see him succeed. But there's too much. We're putting too much on this young guy. And I hope it doesn't get to him. I hope he does get to develop, especially with the tools that he has, especially with the veterans who's going to help him along the way in his NBA journey. And let's just hope that he's able to live up to the hype. But right now, the skepticism is at an all-time high for me. And this was even before his first NBA game. I have all the receipts. If you look at all our group chats where we had to talk about Wembanyama, I've always said, "Do this guy, I'm scared that he's gonna get hurt." A friend of mine pointed out that guys of his size just historically break down. Like their health, they don't hold up for very long. So let's just hope that the advancements when it comes to science and just the sports medicine is able to keep up with Wembanyama, because historically guys like him, they don't last long. They're not very healthy. But at the same time, the sports medicine and the science behind that, it's advanced so much. We're seeing guys play up to their late 30s now, like LeBron. But it's not like this is something that happens for every player. You need to have the dedication, and you also need to already have the talent to be able to play up to your 40s or even just 39, like what LeBron will be doing. So, Wembanyama, I'm excited to see what he can do, but there are so many reservations. He can score, sure, but I don't think he can do it the way he did against NBA. I mean, the defense that he's going to face in the NBA, it's going to be different. NBA defense is, much faster, much harder to deal with. So, guys will bully him if he shows a sign of weakness. The Spurs will not sniff the playoffs this year. I don't think. They will be developing. It's exciting because they have a solid young core, and they're going to be building that around Wembanyama. But they already have guys like Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, who will need to get used to playing around what Wembanyama does. So we're going to see what it's going to be like this season, and there will be adjustments, and it won't be another 2 or 3 seasons before we even talk about the Spurs becoming legitimate playoff contenders. I mean, they might sniff the play-in, but that doesn't mean we're going to start talking about how suddenly this franchise has turned around and they're going to start winning 50 games every season again. Now, I don't think that yet. And this is coming from someone who loves the San Antonio Spurs, and I love Greg Popovich, and I think he's the smartest coach of all time. And I think that the Spurs have a great culture. They develop players very, very well. But, there's just so much to be skeptical about. And I'll just leave it at that.
Wow, someone's triggered. Anyways, that was a very long rant. Understandably, it's because you care for their organization, even though they don't know you exist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yet they don't know that yet.
Not yet.
That's the optimism that we need.
Yeah, that.
Anyways, that's what
can
we
I defend Wemby? Can I defend Wemby?
Yeah, sure.
Defend Wemby.
Let's see.
Can I defend Wemby?
Let's see what you have to say about Wembanyama.
All valid points. I'm just gonna say, the hype surrounding him is warranted. It's the media hype. As for the greatest number one pick of all time, you really can't decide it right now. Greatest prospect, you can decide it. He's probably the greatest prospect ever because no one's like him. LeBron, Grant Hill, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, or David Thompson, Kobe, MJ, Wemby, probably KD, but he's 7'5" and got defense. KD didn't have defense, when he was a scorer. So greatest prospect probably. He's a 2K player. 7'5" in shooting. If he was like 250 or probably 270, that's a perfect player. That's basically unstoppable. Secondly, uh, I think I'm gonna give a hot take. I'm gonna give a hot take. He's gonna be an All Star this season. I'm gonna give that hot take right now. He's gonna be an All Star this season. Well, because of the
Ooh.
hype. People are gonna there are haters and there's gonna be voters. That voting one is probably gonna get that. And NBA players were awe when he played, the G League night. So players are gonna vote for him, and coaches, so coaches, scouts, they raved about him. So if they see him play, they're gonna vote him in. So I think he's gonna be an all star. And uh, you know, it's the first 2 games. Right? You really can,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there were clans, there were negatives and positives, and as a Spurs fan, that's all valid points. You gotta, because you said that he's seven, I think he's 7'3" without shoes, but guys at his height are guys at his height are naturally injury prone, but I've seen his interviews about people him talking about people calling that he should bulk up. I think he made a great point. He doesn't need to bulk up. He needs to get stronger. I think that's what KD did. KD's not bulky, but KD's strong.
No.
So that's what turned KD into the next level. He became stronger. So and he's got a weird pregame routine that he's got that weird climbing flooring thing that he does. He does it every game or before the games. He's got his own physical, I don't know, doctor, chiropractor, whatever. So he's already taken care of at that. But history is against him in terms of 7-3 guys getting injured. But if we're talking about, hope not, because he's the greatest prospect we've ever seen in terms of all the hype's gonna be surrounding him. Yeah, sure, but not the greatest number one pick. No, that's LeBron, and no one's gonna surpass LeBron.
Hey, finally,
Yeah.
something good about LeBron coming your mouth. Jesus.
No,
Defend
no,
LeBron at all costs.
I mean, it's true, but what we can say about Wemby for LeBron. LeBron went to a shitty organization when he was starting, and he just blossomed.
Mhm.
That shows how great he is. So
Yeah.
how great LeBron is. No, but yeah, LeBron's great. He's the greatest number one
Yeah.
pick of all time. No one, even Wemby becomes LeBron's gonna be still gonna be the greatest number one prospect ever. And greatest number one pick of all time.
Mm.
But in terms of prospect, just no league experience prospect. It's Wemby. But number one, it's LeBron. Because LeBron's in the tier one, it's with Jordan, and to have a player to be next to Jordan and LeBron, he might not even been born yet. So, so in terms of greatest number one, it's LeBron. Hey, it's a positive, right? Yeah, LeBron, this prospect.
We're still
All
friends,
right.
by the way. We're still friends.
Yeah, yeah.
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 All right. So, hit me, baby, one more time. We've talked about Wemby so much, and guys, episode 1 of season 2 has been amazing. Apologies if it's so long, but we just
It's
had so
basketball.
much to talk about
Yeah.
because we missed out on a lot. But don't worry, we're not going to continue on just talking about basketball. For the future episodes, we'll be spicing things up a bit, while adding a bit more, flair to what we
Yeah.
have here, and I hope you guys do enjoy it. And so, Epic, Juan, how was your episode 1 experience?
I mean, definitely it was great being with you guys again. I mean, just being a guest was already a trip. Just being a guest alone was already fun. Talking to you guys about the sport that we love was already great. But now to do this on a regular is completely different, and I'm really looking forward to everything that we're about to produce for the show. Number one, number two, like aside from the show, the whole Jersey Shorts brand in general,
Mm.
I'm excited to build that up. You know, to the audience, we have segments coming. So just a little
Yep.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
we have segments coming. So like what Rain said, we're gonna spice things up, segments and other shows too, aside from the podcast main. You know what I mean? So yeah, I can't wait to create content with you guys. Let's make magic happen.
Yeah.
What about you, Juan? How was your first episode?
Hey, talking about basketball, it's always gonna be fun. You know, great guys. Writing about basketball, it's a job.
It's a
But
job.
talk. I mean, it's much better to talk about it than write about it, right? So I enjoyed the first episode. Can't wait for the segments. So we're cooking something. We're cooking something there. So hopefully you guys.
It's boiling.
Yeah.
It's boiling.
So hopefully
not drugs.
We
Don't
forgot
worry.
to turn it off.
so hopefully you guys can't wait for that. So yeah.
That's right. All right. Episode 1 of season 2 has been a blast. It's been an honor to be doing this with you guys. And to the listeners, follow us on Facebook. We've got socials now. We're present everywhere now. This is going to be on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. We're thinking of Threads, but I don't
Let's
know
do threads.
if we'll.
Let's do threads.
Haven't tried.
We'll do Threads.
Haven't
All
tried.
right.
Haven't tried
So
that.
we'll do Threads. It's a new app, so we'll try to explore that. So you guys keep on the lookout and follow us, subscribe, like, leave a comment, share, give us ideas, interact with us, and see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Hey guys, this is Ray. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Peace.